Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Haggerty Dog Training. Babette Haggerty with Dog Talk. We're answering your questions, all things dog. And I'm looking at the camera here. My hair's a little flat, but I figure I'm a dog trainer. It doesn't really matter, you know, how flat my hair is. It's called hat head, and this is what happens when you live in freezing New Jersey in November. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and thanks for all of the questions you've been sending in. There are some great questions that we have. One reader wrote, and this is from Barb in Florida. She has a quick question about her two puppies. Should they be fully housebroken by now? Because they're not. They can hold for 4 hours in the crate, but only 20 minutes when playing together and 1 hour when playing alone. I was told online, Dr. Google, the Google who knows all, that they are supposed to be able to hold it for 5.5 hours at this point, but it seems like more than 4 hours. Is this normal? I tell everybody, stay off the internet. You're gonna get 1,000 different people's opinions. There's a saying in dog training that the only one thing that two trainers can agree on is what the third is doing wrong. You know, every dog is different. Some dogs are going to be able to hold it longer than others, sooner at earlier ages, and some will take longer. You know, and there are a lot of things that play into that. Genetics, whether the dog's been spayed, whether the dog was spayed at a young age, etc. The bottom line is, don't give your dogs the opportunity to have the accident in the house. If they can only hold it for 4 hours and you feel like it's time for them to move on, then start pushing a little bit. Maybe 4 hours and 15 minutes, 4 hours and 15 minutes, then go 4 hours and 30 minutes, you know, and then just keep going slowly, slow increments, step by step, tiny little steps. I remember not too long ago, somebody had, asked me, well, how long am I supposed to do it? How long does this last? And I said, until I tell you otherwise. People forget that training is a process, and it's not just, whoop, turn on the light switch, boom, my dog is trained and perfect and knows everything. It doesn't work like that. And some dogs take longer than others. You know, look at some families. Some kids went to Harvard, some kids went to community college, and it's all the same family. Everybody is different. Every dog is going to progress at a different pace. As long as you do everything right 100% of the time and you follow the directions, you're going to get the results. The next question we had is, okay, it seems that my puppy, this is actually also from Barb, it seems like Pike needs to go out every 30 minutes when he's playing by himself, but Kona needs 1 hour. Yes, is this normal? Yes, it just goes back to what I was saying, Barb, that you have to understand every dog is going to progress differently. It doesn't matter that these guys are litter mates. It doesn't matter that you're raising them the exact same way. One is going to progress more quickly than the other. Just be patient. Another question that we have from someone is, how do you desensitize a dog to walk in the neighborhood on a leash without getting freaked out and every little thing? Both of my dogs get so scared at everything, especially lawn equipment. Can't leash train when there are so many distractions either. Okay, so let me just break this down because these are a few questions. How do you desensitize a dog to walk in the neighborhood on a leash without getting freaked out at every little thing? I actually have a dog now I'm working with that gets freaked out. Not as much as she did originally, but I told the owners, go to Starbucks every night, sit outside, let her get used to the sights and the sounds of people, cars, trucks, mopeds, whatever it is. Let them get used to it. All you have to do is sit outside with them. Now I have Ghost right here at my feet. You can't see him because he's asleep, right, Ghosty? And, one thing that a big mistake people make is that they're sitting there like, oh, it's okay, baby. It's okay, baby. When they get nervous, let them just relax. Don't reinforce that behavior by stroking them and saying, oh, baby, it's okay, it's okay. Just let them relax, let them be. And if you're having trouble with your dog pulling on the leash, teach them to walk properly on the leash initially in your driveway. Go back and forth 15, 20 minutes a day, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then you can start introducing distractions. A distraction here, a distraction there. If you live in suburbia, you'll have different distractions periodically. You want to get them squared away there in your driveway before you throw them into Times Square on New Year's Eve, because that's overkill. So introduce those distractions very slowly and gradually. Don't do too much at one time, and make sure you're not sitting there praising the dog, praising the dog, praising the dog. That is super, super important, that you're not overpraising them and that you're not trying to console them. Because when you're trying to console them, you're actually really reinforcing the nervousness. All right, so paper training. So we had a gentleman here in Bergen County that had called. He has a 2-year-old Maltipoo. Did beautifully on the paper training. Everything was going very well. All of a sudden, the dog has taken a liking to 2 specific rugs in the house. That's the downside on paper training, is that when you paper train a dog, they think they're supposed to go to the bathroom inside the house. They don't think they're supposed to go to the bathroom outside the house. So when you put down a new rug, whether it's a welcome mat, whether it's, a Persian rug that your grandmother left you, or it's just a mat at your kitchen sink, it's a mat. It's a place for them to go to the bathroom in their mind. So I explained to him, I said, look, you're going to have to go back to the basics. Start setting up the section, and you can watch our YouTube video. We do have a YouTube video. Go into our channel on YouTube, and you'll find the paper training video. And I'll make sure that there's a link in the description below this video today when we launch this video, or later on when people can go take a look at it. I'll add in the link below to the YouTube video on paper training. What you want to do is you want to take an area that is just wall-to-wall pads. That is all you want. You don't want your dog to have the opportunity to go anywhere but on the pad. And then what you'll do over a period of time is just pick up one pad at a time, one pad at a time. Don't just say, okay, he's pad trained because he's only gone on the pads for the last 3 weeks. And then just leave one pad there in a 3,000 square foot house. Don't do that. Keep them confined to that one area. When they go to the bathroom, okay, you can let them run around the house for about 15-20 minutes, put them back in, and slowly decrease the number of pads. So you're giving him the opportunity to go to the bathroom either on the floor or on the pad. And this way, once he proves to you he'll go to the bathroom on the pad when he has the option of the floor, then you can start giving him a little bit more freedom. We had a couple of other questions that we had. Oh, okay. This question came from Cassie here in Hawthorne. Her dog was having accidents in the house. She asked me if she should use an electronic collar. Now, you don't want to use an electronic collar. You don't want to use electronic collar without using it correctly. And that's a whole other topic of conversation. And that's a whole other tool to use. But using an electronic collar to help with housebreaking accidents is not really ideal. If you want to use an electronic collar for other training, there are professionals out there like myself at Haggerty Dog Training, or I can put you in touch with other people that know how to use like a vibrate the stem very gently with also the tone. Those collars are available. The best thing to do if you're having accidents in your house, or if your dog is having accidents in the house, is start creating them. You're not creating them enough, you're giving them too much freedom. And you have to remember, every single time your dog goes to the bathroom, they feel better. And it doesn't matter where they go. They don't care if it's a brand new wood floor. They don't care if it's your grandmother's favorite Persian. If they go to the bathroom, they feel better. Women can really relate to my next analogy. If you've ever been on a road trip, where are you going to go? To the rest stop. You have to go to the bathroom. Are you stopping at the rest stop that's a mile away, or the one that's 20 miles down the road? If you really have to go, you're going to hit the one that's a mile away. Okay? And what happens? You feel better. Just like your dog. Why is your dog going to wait until someone lets him outside if he can go right here in the kitchen? This is a perfectly good spot. Same thing with the rest area. Why not go in the rest area that's a mile away? Why wait 20 miles? It's the same thing. You also have to, I'm going to drive the point home even further. Dogs don't care where they go to the bathroom. How many times, and women more so can understand this than men, how many times have you been somewhere, you're on a long road trip, driving, you really have to go. You really have to go. And, it's nice. You're looking for a rest area. You don't find anything. You're in the middle of God only knows where. You really have to go to the bathroom. And then you go into this bathroom and you walk in and you're like, oh my God, I wouldn't let a rat die in this bathroom, but I don't care. I have to go so badly. I'm just going to go anyway. And you go and you feel so much better and you leave and you forget about this horrible place that you wouldn't let a rat live in or die in. And you don't care. You feel better. You went to the bathroom. Your dog feels that same way. Your dog has relief. So remember, every time they go to the bathroom, it's self-rewarding behavior. They feel better. It is reinforced. It doesn't matter where it is. So what you have to do, oh, hey, George. Hi, handsome. It's good to see you on here. Happy Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving. You have to remember that every time they go to the bathroom, it's rewarded. They feel better about it. So if your dog is having accidents, you're not taking them out often enough, you're not confining them enough, and you're giving them way too much freedom. Stop that. You don't want to do that. It's super important. And another question that we had that came in, so somebody was having some trouble, their dog just wasn't healing, was still very nervous around lots of distractions, still very triggered by other dogs, and they said, will this stop over time? Yes. It takes time. Time takes time. And, I had to remind these people that for 2 years they've had this problem with the dog. For 2 years this dog has been barking and lunging at people. For 2 years this dog has gotten away with it. You're not going to stop it in a few lessons. And you're not going to stop it in a few lessons if I think I'll practice on Sunday. Monday it's a little cold out. I'm not going to practice. Oh, Tuesday I'm going to go play racquetball. All right, I'll work Wednesday and we'll practice for 5 minutes. And on Friday if I have time. It has to be every single day. Every single day. Without fail. 100%. All in. You have to do it Saturday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday every single day. It doesn't matter if you feel up to it or not. It's super important that you practice continually. That is going to be the only way that you're going to get results. Let's see what other questions that we have. I think that's it. Do we have any questions I'm missing here? I feel like we had more questions. Okay. I guess not. Oh, okay, here's another question that did come in. Can I house train and paper train my dog? This must be like potty training week or something. Can I house train and potty train my dog, or paper train my dog at the same time? Will it cause them confusion? Yeah, I feel it does cause them confusion. A lot of people in the city tell me that they do both. And I've had people tell me that, and then they call me because they're having problems. So I really think that you're best picking one over the other. And you have to remember that this is something you're going to be committed to for the next 15 years. So make a decision and think about your lifestyle over the next 15 years. When I was training dogs in Florida, everybody wanted their dog house trained because it was beautiful out. You're always letting your dog outside, and you have a fenced in yard, and it was wonderful. People in New York City, come February in a blizzard, you don't really want to go outside to walk your dog. I don't even want to open up my door last night to let my dogs out my backyard because it was so cold. So you really have to decide what's going to work best for your lifestyle for the next 15 years. Is it paper training or is it house training? So that, I believe, are all of our questions for this week. I feel like I've missed some, and if I didn't get to your question, I am super sorry. Just send me a reminder, and I will get to it next week, I promise. Actually, no, we don't have this next week, because next week is Thanksgiving. So everybody, go ahead and click on, make sure you subscribe to our email, and we will send you some Thanksgiving friendly foods for your dog and what not to feed your dog on Thanksgiving as well. And stay safe. We will be back in 2 weeks. We may make a surprise visit somewhere between now and then, maybe teaching you how to make Thanksgiving cookies for your dog that are safe. In the meantime, everybody have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll definitely see you in 2 weeks. Have a great Thanksgiving. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, I am back. I'm on. I'm on. Okay, hey everybody. I found those questions. Remember I kept saying if you were tuning in a few minutes ago, what are these questions? I know I had questions. I know I had more questions. Well, we found them. All right. So one question is, it comes from Maureen here in New Jersey. Her dog, she has a new puppy. Congratulations, Maureen. Okay, so Brandy is really becoming difficult with Daisy, particularly with treats. Brandy is her older dog. Brandy sometimes takes hers into the bedroom and waits. Daisy eats hers immediately. Brandy waits for Daisy to come looking for her, then growls viciously. Brandy, that's not very nice. Daisy has no interest in the treat. She just wants to pester Brandy. I tried to take the treat away from Brandy, and she would have bitten me if I had kept at it. I've never had a problem taking food away from her. All right, so kind of what's happening a little bit is Brandy's a little put off. You've got this puppy in the house. Brandy's used to running the show, and now she's got this one she has to boss around. There's one more dog in addition to the people she wants to boss around in the house. So, you know, it's a little bit of an alpha pack type thing. She's fighting for her position. She's going to start giving people a harder time. She used to put up with a few more things because she was a bit younger. You know, Daisy's exuberant and excited and very energetic. So that kind of puts her off a little bit too. So you and I, Maureen, need to have a little conversation with Brandy and teach Brandy that she can't do this, that this is not a good idea. So Brandy's testing the waters too to see what she can get away with still with you, as well as putting Daisy in her place. So that's something we can work on together, one-on-one. Probably at your house is going to be best. But definitely when you have a dog that comes into the house, you know, some people will call me up and they say, I got a new puppy. My dog is 13. He's on his way out. You know, I think, oh, that poor 13-year-old dog, you know, he just wants to be left alone. And now you've got this puppy that's like all over you. So there's a balance. Older dogs will correct the younger dogs, and that's okay as long as it's within balance and it's fair, but it's not overkill. But you also sometimes have to stick up for the older dog. You have to interject. When that little puppy is bugging the older dog, you know, the older dog's older. I mean, you know, a 13-year-old dog, for example, is, you know, 91. I mean, I'm 52 and I get cranky. Can't imagine how cranky I'll be at 91. So you have to, you know, make sure that you can keep that older dog safe. And my recommendation is use a spray bottle of water or let the puppy run around with the leash on. And if the puppy is really harassing the older dog, interject. Tell the puppy no, take the puppy away from the older dog, use the spray bottle to get the dog away from the older dog. But it is important. Yes, you know, older dogs are going to correct the new puppy. However, you do need to have some balance there and make sure it's not too much. And you also have to be ready to step in to kind of stick up for that older dog. So our mixed breed is 3 years old. We're having trouble with her greeting guests, her mouthiness, and barking at the windows. What do you suggest we do? All right, there are quite a few things here. The first thing, greeting the guests. My recommendation is teach her how to do a sit and stay when guests come into the house. Make sure she sits and she stays. People can come in. She needs to be remaining in that sit position. The people can go over and bend over and say hello to her, but she should not be jumping up. She cannot start spinning in circles and jumping on the back of them or on the front of them. She has to stay seated. And then once she has sat and she has greeted the people politely, then you can give her lots of praise. That's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do also is teach her to go to her bed. So train her so that when the doorbell rings, she goes to her bed. So doorbell, go to your bed. Doorbell, go to your bed. And teach that to her over and over and over again. Send her to the bed and teach her to stay in the bed. And this is a skill every dog should have. Teach your dog to go to the bed and stay in the bed for up to 30 minutes at a time. You can practice this at dinner. You can practice it when you're binge watching Netflix, when you're checking your email, and when you just have family and friends over or you're watching a movie. You know, go to your bed and stay in the bed. And you can work them on this when you're, you know, practicing, when you're checking your email and you're sitting there and you're checking your email, checking the email, stay. Checking the email, stay. You know, whatever it is, you keep one eye on what you're doing, one eye on the dog. Just reinforce the stay. Tell them that they're a good dog. If you check our YouTube channel, we definitely have videos on how to teach your dog to go to the bed on command. The bed can be a towel, it could be a spot on the floor, and it could be an elevated bed like we have here at Haggerty Dog Training in Midland Park, our Kuranda beds that people love. Mouthiness. I'd really like to see how much mouthiness your dog is doing. Are they grabbing at the sleeves? Are they grabbing at the feet? Are they grabbing at the hands? You know, mouthiness can also be a problem with dogs that have had a lot of treat training because they're constantly looking for the treat. So they're trying to get the treat out of your hands. So that's a question that I have. One thing that you can do is also use the spray bottle. Tell them no when they go to use the spray bottle. Tell them no, use the spray bottle when they go to mouth at you. It's super important that you are consistent and you tell them no each time they use their mouth on your hands or any body part. They're really not supposed to do that at all. Barking at the window. Men love my advice for this one. Get yourself a water gun and squirt them every time they go up charging at that living room window because somebody's going by. just squirt them squirt them with a water gun, and you can get one of those big what do you call those big super soaker. Thank you, Emily. Oh, by the way, Emily Kern, she's she's like my big time photographer here. She set this whole thing up. You should see this like fancy light she's got for me. And people are raving about her pictures on Instagram. So if you need a good photographer, whether it's for dogs or anybody else, go to Emily Kern Photography. And I'm gonna make sure that Emily puts a link in the description for her website, because she is our photographer and videographer, social media extraordinaire here at Haggerty Dog Training, and I love her. Anyway, I digress as usual. ADD me. Okay, so barking in the windows. You're gonna get that super soaker, and every time they bark at the window, tell them no. But you have to tell them no every single time. It's not just sometimes. If you don't want them barking at the window, you have to tell them every single time. That is super important. Okay, and then I know I had one more that somebody had sent to me, I believe. Okay. My brother's female puppy. It's a lab puppy, is getting aggressive towards other dogs when they walk her. He's tried to choke her collar, but I know he's learned a lot. But she pulls, she growls, and she barks. All right. Okay. My guess is there are a couple of things going on here. I don't know how old this puppy is. When you start walking your dog and you're pulling on a tight leash, you are training your dog to be aggressive. That is how they train attack dogs, police dogs, and fighting dogs. Hold that tight leash. Okay? Because what happens is when you hold that tight leash, the dog gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. All right? If you gave them a little bit of a correction, and you have to use the right color for the correction, but if you give a little bit of a correction, it's going to make a big difference, because you've gone from holding the dog back and restraining them to kind of throwing them off balance, shoving them off to the side, and getting them to settle down. All right? Now, the best analogy I could use for this is the barroom brawl analogy. And I know nobody here has ever witnessed a barroom brawl. No one here has ever even been in a barroom brawl. But if you watch one on TV, the guys are pulling their friends back, and they're like, don't do it, no, leave him alone. And the guy's getting bigger and bigger. Let me at him, I'm gonna kill him. And they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Did you ever think what would happen if those friends, instead of pulling their friend back, gave their friend a shove and said, go ahead, kill each other, we don't care, we're going back to our dinner? What would happen is those guys would get much smaller, and they'd say, hey man, peace, don't worry about it, and they'd walk away. Same thing with your dog. The more you pull your dog back, like a harness is fantastic for this, pull your dog back, restrain your dog, the more they're going to lunge, the more they're going to pull, the more they're going to bark and growl. Okay? If you gave them like a little proper leash correction, and that's something I'm going to have to show you on another one of my videos, you give them a proper leash correction and tell them no, you're throwing them off balance, and they're like, oh, okay, they're not going to be pulling. So it's fine that this puppy has a choker chain on, but you have to make sure you're using it properly. And if it's tightening around the dog's neck, it's not being used properly. And I also want you to take a look at my YouTube videos where we show you how to put that collar on properly. That is super, super important. There's a right way and a wrong way to put that choker chain on. And I think we are running out of time. So, and that is, I did get all of my questions in. So thanks for tuning in for the second round today. And again, I wish you guys a terrific Thanksgiving, and everybody be safe, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care.